Hey designers, welcome to the Virtually Unfiltered Designer Podcast. In a world full of perfectly curated portfolios and rigid industry rules, we're doing things a little differently here. We're pulling back the curtain on the messy, raw side of design and what it's like to run a design business, the stuff that nobody talks about. From deconstructing the systems that actually run a business to why I've traded the traditional sourcing and tracking model for a more flexible design on demand life. This is a space for authenticity, community over competition, and finding the beauty in the functional chaos. So settle in and let's get unfiltered. All right. Welcome back to the Virtually Unfiltered Designer. I am here with Marsha Sefcik. We are recording episode 3. She is a business strategist, workflow specialist, and a client experience mentor who has spent nearly 2 decades in the design industry. She works with designers who are ready to step out of chaos and into confidence. Marsha, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Hi. Thanks, Sarah. I'm happy to be here.
I'm so glad you could join me. So, tell us a little bit about your journey. Like where did this start and how did you get to where you are now? Because you've worn a lot of hats.
I'm wearing a lot of hats. I love to wear a lot of hats. The journey was definitely not a straight road. And up until a few years ago, I actually thought that my career over, past number of decades was really segmented I had them put in tidy little boxes and I thought that they did not relate to each other at all. So I spent, let's say, the first part of my career in sales, marketing, customer service, training, support, project management. And I did that and I excelled at it and I loved it. But then it came time to have a family and I knew I didn't want to do the corporate climb the ladder thing. I wanted to be a mom and I wanted to stay at home with my littles. And not many people know, but I home educated them as well. And so that was very much hands on deck, 24/7. Loved
For
it.
sure.
And then, but when I had my son, I actually went back to school. And at the time, this was before social media. This was before online learning and online classes. And I did like a mail in diploma for interior decorating. And some people are like, well, how did you go from corporate to interior decorating? Well, our designer base won't, they'll get it. It was always something I was interested in. It was always something I spent way too much doing in my apartments and in my homes when I probably should have been studying in university. But for me, where I grew up in rural Newfoundland, interior design, interior decorating was not a career path that anyone suggested to you. There wasn't even
Hmm.
me, the opportunity to pursue that education wise. So it wasn't
Hmm.
until, I'm 30 that I decide, oh, there is a career path for this. There are courses out there that I can do and what have you. So I did. So I jumped in and did that. So while I had my kids at home, I grew my business to where I was comfortable with it. For me, it was always if I was gonna take on a project, what was the sacrifice? Because I knew it was gonna pull me away from home.
For
So I
sure.
did that. And then grew my business by word of mouth. People start hearing that, I was doing this thing, got really well known for doing kitchens. Did not start out to be a kitchen designer, but you don't know where the road's gonna take you. So definitely I would say out of all my projects, 95% of them involve a kitchen. So,
Okay.
and then where I live in Nova Scotia, a lot of houses are 100 plus years old. So I do a lot of old home renovations. I love that. I've always lived in an old home myself. And so I love to be able to blend the modern conveniences that we all want
Hmm.
in homes, but always keeping, the character and being respectful to the lines of the home and the era of the home. So that was, interior decorating and building my business. And then my family moved. And so and moved across the country. So when we moved, I didn't want to have to start over again and start to build my business, but miss design a lot. And so I started freelancing, for an online design company, and I loved that because it allowed me to see what that online interior design, e-design
Mhm.
could look like, and I learned a lot. I again excelled in that on that platform. Within 6 months, I was promoted to senior designer. I came in number 1 for sales, customer service, and what have you. I am very customer service oriented, and I do thank my corporate background for that because what we do, everyone loves to say it's a creative service or creative industry, but it's very
Mhm.
much a service industry as well. And
Absolutely.
yeah, so anyway, then started doing that, loved that. COVID hit. Everyone thought the interior design was just gonna go tank
Yep.
itself, and it did the complete opposite. I don't think any of us could have predicted how things were gonna blow up for us. And then but we also had to work through a lot of challenges during that time,
For
right?
sure.
You know, it's a supply chain and what have you. So then I went out on my own and it came time, okay, the landscape had changed so much. Now there's rendering software and there's interior design project management software. And so that's where I found myself working for my Doma, and through there, start, really meeting a lot of other designers and making
Mhm.
those connections. And because what we do as solopreneurs, especially in the early days, was very much lonely. No one was sharing what they were doing.
Yes.
Everyone was being super secretive. There was no conversations about pricing or about profit margins or about how you were doing it. But I find now I feel this I don't wanna say generation, but I find the climate has really, really changed in that
Mhm.
very much more supportive and encouraging
Yes.
and wanting to give. So, yes, did I make a lot of mistakes along the way? Definitely. Um, but I want to impart those onto those that I work with and who wanna work with me, because I work with a lot of midlife designers now. So I
Mhm.
have now become like a consultant to designers, and I work with a lot of designers who are midlife. So similar, chapter or season of life, however you wanna put it, as I am. Kids are now grown, they're out, they're at university, so I'm now a part-time
Mhm.
empty nester. Aging parents needing to be able to have a business that, yes, I can be all in, but if I need to step away, I have the flexibility to do that. But
Right.
no, my business is not going to tank because of that. And just being able to work online, and I think COVID really pushed that along as well.
Mhm.
That I can work from anywhere. Like 2 weeks ago, I did have to go visit my in-laws, and I continued working. No one, there
Yep.
was no interruption. Did I reduce my hours or reduce my days? Definitely. But I was
Sure.
able to do that. So I love showing up, working with designers. I work with them one on one because I want to give them everything that they need. I find,
Mhm.
um, there is not a one size fits all. And Sarah, you and I have had many conversations about that.
We have.
Everyone is
For sure.
Everyone has different needs. Everyone defines success differently, growth differently, scale, all those words that, are thrown out there, but it means something different for everyone. So I really like to hone
Mhm.
in on the designer that I'm working with and I'm speaking with across the screen is like, well, what do you want? Like, where do you want to go? Where do you
Yeah.
see yourself? And how can I help you get there? How can I help facilitate that for you? But also giving them the permission to just show up as their authentic selves. And I know that's something that's thrown out a lot, but in my program, we have 6 biweekly sessions, and I cannot describe it. I cannot explain it, but something happens at session 3.
Mhm.
Something happens at session 3 where it just opens up, and they are like, "I don't wanna do it this way. I don't wanna do it that way. I wanna
Yep.
do this. This is the services I wanna provide. This is how I wanna show up." And it's like,
Mhm.
yes. So, just to give you some very cool stories that have happened is recently, I always have everyone fill out an ideal client questionnaire. And I know,
Mhm.
again, the ideal client words, they make me cringe too, but
Yeah.
it's the language that we're using. And so
Right.
I'm chatting with this designer and we're going through it. And then we're like 15 minutes into the call. And she's like, you know what? I don't want to work with these people. These people drive me absolutely crazy. I don't want to work with these people. And I'm like,
Mhm.
tell me a little bit more about that. And I think
Yeah.
it's just, I provide them with that safe space, no
Yes.
judgment. I'm not gonna tell you you're crazy. I'm not gonna tell you you can't do that. If anything, I'm
Mhm.
gonna be your cheerleader, and I'm like, let's figure out how we can do what you wanna do." And
Yes.
so she's identified this niche for herself that she wants to work
Mhm.
in, and we've gone all in on that, and I'm so excited for her. Then
That's
another
awesome.
designer, we were talking about her branding, like, how do you wanna show up on your socials and on your website?
Yeah.
And she was sending things over, and everything was very neutral, very monochromatic, very beige, but every
Mhm.
time I was
Yep.
chatting with her, that's not what I was picking up. And I said to
Mhm.
her, I said, "Tell me about how you like to dress. Like, what's in your closet?" We actually went into her closet, and she's like, "You know what? I wore this outfit the other day, and I was so happy. I felt like a
Yep.
million bucks."
Yep.
But then she changed before she went to an initial consult because she felt she
Mhm.
needed to play it safe.
Yep.
And that just, for women, we're always told not to be too loud, not to
Yep.
be too bold, don't go asking for things, and it's like, no, wear wear the sparkly shoes if you want to wear the sparkly shoes. Wear
Absolutely.
the loud blouse. Like
Yes.
show up how you want to show up because that's
Mhm.
when you're going to finally start connecting with the people that you want to connect with and work with as
Yes.
well. So anyway, it's
Exactly.
been an amazing, amazing journey thus far. I'm really excited about the work that I am so honored to do and to stand alongside these women and see them really step into their own, especially in this chapter of their lives. And they're
Mhm.
all in different chapters. They all have different backgrounds, which I love as well, and just really own it. Just really step into it,
Yep.
really own it, and not be worried about what, this one over here is doing or that one over there is doing, which
Exactly.
I was saying that when I first started in this industry, it was very lonely. But the
Mhm.
opposite side of that is that so many of us can suffer from imposter syndrome because we spend so much time scrolling and checking out
Yes.
what everybody else is doing. And
Mhm.
that can be really debilitating, and we can start
Yes. It
second
absolutely
guessing
can.
ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So, anyway, so
Yeah.
that's my journey. That's from, the last 3 decades. They're pretty long-winded, so
Yeah. That's okay. No. And I think a lot of what you said resonates with me because as we've had many of these talks before, you and
yeah.
I, like we are very much aligned in that way where, I don't have imposter syndrome because I don't know what everybody else is doing.
Right.
Because I
Yeah,
honestly don't look. I
I don't
don't look
either.
because I'm like, I don't really need to know what everybody else is doing because I already know what I'm doing. I know what I want to offer. I know who I want to help. And I think when you said about that session number 3 change, it's
Yeah,
almost like you are giving people permission to do the thing that they're just not sure they're allowed to do. Like when I
yes,
first started in this industry and I didn't work for another firm. I went right into business for myself. I already
me too.
knew. And I, again, like started in my 30s, had a little kid at home, and
Yeah,
then COVID hit right after I opened. So I was also homeschooling,
yeah,
doing the preschool mom life and trying to run a business. And, it was honestly, I tell people all the time, I'm like, COVID was horrible in a lot of ways, but in a lot of ways, it was also a blessing because I was like, "Oh, other people are now paying more attention to what I'm doing." And that's kind of how I got hooked into working with other designers because they were like, "Hey, have you always been virtual? How are you doing that?" And that's when I decided like, "Okay, this is my opportunity to be the opposite of what I was met with when I started asking questions. And I have always had a very like, we do not gatekeep here. I have no tolerance for that. I think I would rather straighten your crown and help you climb than be like, well, I can't tell you my trade secrets. Like that's just
right.
not
Yeah,
that's not the kind of woman I am, and it's not the kind of business owner I am. And I just that was always really important to me. And I think that you and I really connected on that concept
yeah,
too, was just
yeah,
like, if I know something that I can can share with you that's going to help you, why would I not? That's not even like, that's a no brainer for me. I don't even second guess that or think about it for a hot second. I'm just like, sure, let me show you how that works.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so you have you mentioned that you have a really clear point of view on the fact that like success looks different for everyone, and that is something that we've also connected with. I've always told all of my designer clients, success is what you want it to be. For
Mhm.
me, success is that I never miss a school event. I don't miss a karate practice. I don't miss a gymnastics meet. I don't, and I still run the business that I want to run while also being a mom and a wife and a friend. And, being able to do those things while running a successful business, to me, like, I've made it, right? Like, to
Yeah.
me, I'm like, I'm living the good life. I get to do what I love and still support the people that I love. That's success to me. So when you are telling other designers about growth and where they're heading for success, where do you think that they are getting it wrong? Like what are they measuring in terms of success that you can kind of redirect them towards defining their own success?
Well, a lot of them are spending a lot of time on Instagram, and they are comparing themselves to other designers in their area,
Mhm.
and depending on the area, that can be, like an absolute no-no, because some areas are very saturated with designers, and then,
Yes.
and then a lot of people are looking at the AD 100 designers, or,
Oh, yeah.
the celebrity designers, and it's like, okay, the celebrity
Mhm.
designers is 1%. It is 1%
Exactly.
of our market. Like, don't
Mhm.
even go there.
Yeah.
And that's what you're aspiring to, that's great, and let's talk about that, but, like, don't necessarily make that the goalpost for yourself if that's not,
Right.
where you wanna be. And so we get personal. We do get personal, and that's why I love doing this one-on-one, and this is why I don't do
Mhm.
group sessions, because I feel like the best work will happen when, you're in that safe space and you feel that you have confidence to
Yes.
just say what's on your heart. And so for
Mhm.
some of them, it's like, yeah, like they said, "You know what? It's summertime, and I don't wanna be doing big projects over the summer because I got my kids."
Yeah.
Or I have my kids part-time, and I share custody with
Mhm.
a spouse, and so
Yep.
I need my business to work around my care schedule for my children.
Yeah.
And then,
Absolutely.
I've got designers who, they have aging parents, and that is the reality for, the chapter of life that
Right.
I'm in. And so being able to
Mhm.
step away and have a business that can continue to run, when that happens. And so let's set the foundation. You know, you have to have the foundation in place to allow you to have the kind of life you want to have. It's not about
Mhm.
hustle and working harder. It is about having, and I don't call it balance, because you'll life and the world is never 100% in balance, but it is about having harmony, right? Having
Yes.
harmony between your business and your life. And so we reverse engineer. We're like, okay, where do you want to be? What's the life that you want to envision? If you were to wake up tomorrow and you could have what you want, what does that look like? And then let's work this backwards, right?
Mhm.
And so, and some of them success would be that they spend 6 of the months of the year here, and 6 of the months of the year maybe in Mexico. Right? And being able to have the business, allow them to do that. Some of them want to just be able to travel 3 or 4 times a year. So
Yeah.
success looks different for everybody. For me,
Mhm.
I'm very similar to you, Sarah. Like, yes, I've mentioned that my kids are off at university, but I want to be able to drop things when I need to drop them, to be there for them, to help them navigate this chapter in their life. And so I'm
Yeah.
very blessed that I'm very my kids still want mom, to help them
Yeah.
navigate this thing. And so
Absolutely.
that I've been able to create a business that allows me to do that, I'm very grateful for. Especially in the past 5 months, I just keep pinching myself that I get to do
Mhm.
this. I get to do this from my humble little house that's 120 years old in a small
Yep.
rural village in Nova Scotia, but I get to work with designers, all across the US and
Yep.
Canada, right?
Yeah, it's a
Very,
really, like, humbling feeling, isn't it? Like, when I talk
very
to my designers across the country, I'm like, I'm sitting in my house in my little office in Evans,
yeah,
Georgia, like,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm
it's
working with
very
people who are
humbling.
doing, like, big
Yeah,
things and growing beautiful businesses, and it's such a,
yeah.
like, humbling feeling,
It is
for
a humbling
sure.
feeling, and that we're
Yeah,
and I don't know, I just feel very blessed, and I feel like this is where I'm meant to be and what I'm meant to be doing. I have no doubt about that, but that I get to help these women step into their own,
yes,
right?
yeah,
We
it's
all
a
come
natural
from
high.
yeah, and life is
Yeah.
messy. Life is
Oh,
messy.
yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
But,
Yes.
you get to carve out this piece of, life that is your business and you get to decide how that looks for you, right? And how you wanna show up, who you wanna serve. Everyone's like, yes, what we offer, yeah, it's coined a luxury service, but that doesn't mean that everyone needs to be going after the wealthy luxury client. And I know I might get
Right.
pushback on that, but I live in a very modest province and I've been able to have a business for the last 2
Yep.
decades
Yep.
doing
Same.
this. And it's not because
Mhm.
I'm chasing the luxury client. If that's what you want, go after it by all means, right?
Yeah.
But and I do work with designers that is their client base, but I have other
Mhm.
designers that they're a little bit more niche or no,
Mhm.
they just want to be able, I always, I guess, had my I don't want to say mission statement, but my idea was that everyone deserves to have a beautiful home. Everyone deserves to
Yes.
have a beautiful home,
Yep.
how whatever that means too for the client, and
Right.
they deserve for their home to be a place that is a safe space for them. It's a sanctuary. It's where they can come and unwind, but also a place that they're happy and excited to share with those closest to them.
Right. Yeah, I had the same, for my homeowner side of my business, my residential
Yeah.
design was always the same way. I wanted it to be approachable because
Yes.
everything with labeled luxury seems like, oh, well, that's only for people with a big income or a giant
Yeah.
budget. And
Yeah.
good design does not have to have a high price tag. You just need to have someone that's willing to think outside the box and respects where you are and what your budget looks like. And I always loved that part of the design, the strategy part, figuring out how to do this without making them feel like, oh, yeah, well, I walk in my house now and it's beautiful, but oh, all I see when I look at that sofa is how much that cost me. And, they're afraid to let anybody sit on it because they way overspent.
Yeah.
always wanted, my clients to know, like, I respect where you're at. I respect that you've got a dog and 3 kids and,
Yeah.
all of those things. So I totally
Yeah.
understand that. So would you say like your first kind of step in helping designers define what makes success for them is kind of adjusting their expectations? It
Yeah.
seems like there's a
Getting
lot in
real.
your program of like
Yeah.
adjusting what success looks like by adjusting
Yeah.
their expectations,
Exactly.
adjusting the fact that they don't have to do things the way that everybody else is doing them. So, like, it,
Yeah.
it sounds to me like you have kind of that first phase, I guess,
Yeah, so
call it, of your
the first
program.
session yeah, the first session is we do a business audit.
Hmm.
We do a
Okay.
full-on business audit. What are you doing now? What's working? What's lacking?
Yeah.
And what do we need to adjust, and where do we need to pivot? What do we need to let go of? So that can be, some
Yes.
ideas.
Which is
What
a
do we
really
need to
big,
let
hard
go of?
thing for a lot of people to do. Let go.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because we get stuck, right? We get stuck
Yeah,
in our ways, and sometimes we ourselves can be our own biggest block to
absolutely.
moving forward, or
Mhm.
and because we've just done things for so long, and
Mhm.
I was definitely guilty of this because we all, I think, especially as women, we want to be, you know, I don't wanna speak for everyone, but a lot of the women that I work with, we wanna be financially independent.
Mhm.
We want security, and I think sometimes we can chase definitely security in the
Mhm.
wrong place.
For sure. for sure.
Right.
And I think too, like it's drilled into us to do that, but also drilled into us as women to be everything for everybody all the time. And
Oh
that's
gosh.
just not a realistic expectations for
Yeah.
anyone. So,
No.
but I
I
feel
have a
like,
saying.
women especially and moms especially, like we are not told, and I can see that it's changing as I get older. Like the next generation is much better about self-care and expectations and not having to, wear a cape all the time. My generation and your generation, we were just expected to do all the things because
Yeah.
that's what women do. That's what moms do.
Yeah.
And so it was like, well, if you want to have your business, then you have to make millions. But also don't forget to make sure that you look nice and the house is clean and the kids are cared for and you don't miss any practices. And like we
Yeah.
do all of these things to ourselves and
Yeah.
then turn around and go, oh, well, you know, you you don't look rested. Are you taking good care of yourself?
Right. Yeah. You look
Like,
haggard. You're looking haggard today.
I'm
Right? Yeah.
tired. Like,
Yeah.
well, I am.
Yeah, I am tired. I am tired. Yeah, and I think too, and this is why I mean, I a lot of the designers I work with are definitely 40 plus. Um,
Mhm.
but I do think there's a switch that gets flicked, especially
Oh,
when you
yeah.
turn 50. There is a
Oh,
switch
yeah.
that gets flicked and I can speak to it and you're just like, "You know what? It's my turn. It's my
Yeah.
turn." Right?
Yep.
I am going to step into this. I am
Yep.
going to do this thing. And I would love for you guys to all come along with me, but
Mhm.
it's mom's turn. It's mom's
Right.
turn to
Yeah,
have
if
something
you choose
different.
not to, I'm still gonna go, and I'm gonna
Yeah,
do it without the guilt. Like, that
exactly.
little nugget at the end is, like, the part that you don't get in your 20s and 30s, and then you kinda
Yeah.
hit your 40s and you're like, my favorite thing about being in my 40s now is that I can very comfortably and confidently say, "No" is a complete sentence.
Yes.
I don't have to
Yes.
explain myself. "No" is
Yes.
enough.
No
That's
is
enough.
enough. Yeah. And
Yeah,
something that you
yeah,
mentioned, something you mentioned is that we don't have to be everything to everyone. And so my saying that I am part on the designers I work with is like, you do not have to be everyone's cup of tea. You do not. You do not.
yeah,
It's okay if
yep,
you want a little sugar in your tea. It's okay if you want a little cream in your tea.
mhm,
Like it's totally fine. You do not have to
yep,
be everyone's cup of tea. And
exactly.
it's funny because you know, I you know, yeah, it's just funny when women start to realize that, you know what, yeah, I don't need to be everything to everyone because that's
Yeah,
exhausting. And I also say
yep,
in your business, when you are trying to do that, you're you're spreading the net too wide. You're shooting out that net and it's going too wide. You're not catching anything. Right? But
mhm, yep,
when you bring that net in and you make things a little tighter, then
mhm,
then what you're attracting and what you're catching in that net is more aligned to who you are, and again, the people
mhm,
you wanna work with, right? But I
yeah,
think,
for
and I
sure,
mean, we're all guilty of this. When we start our businesses, we're all guilty. We wanna take on all the projects. We don't wanna say no to anything. But I
absolutely.
also say, what's the sacrifice there? Right?
Yeah,
What's the sacrifice? Because you don't wanna
absolutely,
get halfway into that project and be like, "I shouldn't have taken this. This is an absolute
right?
night." And the
Yeah,
sacrifice
and
might
we've all
be,
done it.
we've
We've
all done
all
it.
done it.
We've
We've all
all
gotten there
been
going,
there.
"Oh my god, what
Oh
did I
gosh.
do?" And
Yeah.
that's the messy middle. That's I
Yeah.
know you had mentioned this once before when you talked about, the invisible work of a design business, the
Yes.
stuff that, like,
No one's
nobody talks about, and that tension between doing the admin stuff and the creative stuff and, that running the business side of design,
yeah.
all of that stuff just, like, piles up behind the scenes, and we're not, like, taught to talk about that stuff.
No.
When I did design school, I did all of that online and was able to execute that very well in the way and the time that I did it. But I don't remember a single class about actually running a design business.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Same
Like
with my course.
nothing.
No, same with my
Nothing.
course. I was taught everything about, doing the mood boards and doing your floor
Yep.
plans and sourcing,
Yep. And
even
the
a little bit
perspective
about
sketches
pricing.
and
Yeah,
mhm.
but
Yep.
the business side, no. No, there was
No,
no
no.
talk about that. Just don't
No,
talk
and the
about
pricing structures that they teach you too, just like don't exist in the real world. Like that
no.
nothing that they taught me about pricing was actually useful or viable when I actually started the business. 'Cause,
Right,
like,
exactly.
okay, well, maybe if you work for a firm and you're doing like commercial real estate type things, but like nothing in school taught me or prepared me for what it would really be like to run a business. And I wish, like, if there's any program directors out there listening, please get these kids the information they need because nobody knows. I
Right,
had to do a lot of digging in the very beginning. I didn't know what licenses I had to apply for and certificates I needed to have. And, we didn't even do like just simple things like having a business plan, writing an SOP, like
right,
all of that stuff, like that is the like nuts and bolts of your business,
right.
and I am still now at 7 years into business, still going, okay, I need to remember to get it from out of here instead of keeping it in my brain all the time and get it out and into the world. Like I'm
Yes,
constantly updating my SOP. I'm constantly updating all of those documents behind the scenes and checking on those things because that's what makes your business run. It's
it is.
not the design. The design is the easy part. Like we're all
Right.
creatives. That's the easy
Yeah,
part.
that's
The
the
hard
easy
part
part.
is the business stuff. And that's the stuff that nobody's helping with. So it's really comforting for people like myself and people who are listening to know that you're out there helping people with that part of it. You're walking them through,
Definitely.
you know, the you're walking them through their why is kind of what I'm hearing when you talk
Yeah,
about
I
things.
am. I'm
Like,
walking them
making
through
sure
the
that
why.
their goals are aligned and making sure that, like, because if you don't have your why, you know, burnout happens really quickly and the overwhelm just takes over. And before you know it, you're just kind of like struggling constantly. And so
Yeah,
I really like that you are helping them figure that out first and then saying, "Okay, now let's apply that to your business." So
yeah.
you're as far as I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, so
Yeah,
you're
you're
helping
right.
them figure out
No.
the why and then implement that.
And then we're implementing that, and there's so many designers, and I hear this all the time, and, we've all been there as well, is like, you know, yeah, on the outside, I look like I have it all together, but if someone was to pull back the curtain, they would see what a hot mess everything is,
Yeah.
right? And
Yep,
the first thing I say to them, "Okay, we're going to carve out a couple of hours on a
yep,
specific day of the week that you're gonna
mhm,
make an appointment with yourself to show up as your own CEO. You have
yep,
to work your business. You cannot just be doing design all the time and expect
mhm,
your business to be profitable if you are not taking the time to spend time in your business. And what does that mean? That means that you are working out your business plan, your marketing, you're looking at your numbers, you're looking at your revenue streams. Like you have to do that. Because if
yes,
not, then you're not really running a business. You're out there designing and you've got clients, but you have no idea
mhm,
what's going on the back end.
yeah,
And then what happens is you don't have that foundation and you're not, say, employing your contract or you're not with every client because
mhm.
you're like, oh, that's just going to be a quick in and out. And I don't want the client think that I'm being stuffy by sitting over a contract for such a simple project. And it's like, you never skip on your contract. You
No.
always
And
send
again, like, we've
everything.
all done it. We've all gone, "Do I need
Oh,
to?"
yeah, I don't need to. It's only a small
Well,
project.
it's just a quick question. Or, I get a lot of people because I do the same thing with my designer clients. I always do like our first meeting is always I kind of talk through an audit with them and then I give them homework.
Yeah,
I tell them here is an action item list.
yeah,
I give them a checklist of all the things I want them to share with me. You know,
yeah.
how many programs are you using and how many subscriptions are you paying? That's a huge one for me.
Oh,
We
yeah.
audit the tech stack first because usually the tech stack is like, 10 to 15 deep and we try to make it to like 5 or less.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah,
always the goal. But,
yeah.
if you are constantly in that tailspin, like you said, of just working on the design, the business doesn't just run itself,
No.
and I've fallen into that. We all have where we're like, oh, shoot, it's been a minute since I looked at this or that. And so now I kind of like create dates in my calendar where I kind of have like this I personally do a quarterly assessment where I look at all of my subscriptions and how
Yep.
what's working, what's not, all of the things that have, maybe changed or maybe haven't in the last quarter. So, what would you tell people um, who are listening? Do you think quarterly is a good time? Do you think it should start out more like a monthly? Like, what do you tell your clients who do your program? How often should they be looking at that?
Okay, so I ask everyone to set a CEO date for themselves on Monday morning. You kick off your week with a CEO date. That can be an hour, can be an hour and a half, but that is an appointment with yourself. You do not cancel it. You do not book over it. That is an appointment with yourself. Okay?
Hmm.
And then I suggest you either do a Money Monday or a Financial Friday. And that's when
Okay.
you're looking at your numbers. And then I suggest the 10th and the 25th of every month is where you're making sure that your money is in the proper account. So there's for your operating expenses, for your payroll if you have team members, if you're
Mhm.
placing orders and what have you. And yes, the quarterly, then you take your CEO date towards the end of the quarter and you that's when you're reviewing the past quarter. You make sure that your numbers are where they want to be. If you don't have a goal for your numbers, then you're never going to hit it. Right?
Yeah.
It's all right.
Right.
Everything goes,
Exactly.
"Well, I want my business to be profitable." But if
Yeah,
you're
you're
only
absolutely
looking at
right.
your numbers at income tax time, like, I'm sorry,
Right.
too late to pivot. It's too late for you to,
Mhm.
for that year anyway. So definitely you want to be taking a look at things quarterly. But I do suggest a CEO date every Monday. I like Monday because you're kicking off the week with it.
Yeah.
And then either Money Mondays or Financial Fridays to be looking at your
I love
numbers and make
that.
sure everything is kosher.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
I
it
love that.
is, yeah. And then, I don't think we need to be available to our clients 24/7. So I even block out what days of the week and what times in the day that I am available for client
Mhm.
calls.
Yep.
Because again, we don't want to burn out by being available 24/7. You're not on call. What we're doing is not an emergency, right? We're not saving lives here. So
Nope.
we set our calendar. So Tuesdays for me is my coaching call day. That's when all my clients can book their calls with me. Wednesday is my day to do my support for my designers, as well as Thursdays. And then Fridays is my closeout to the week. And so that's when I do my financials. It's when everyone gets their reports, my progress updates, and what have you. Sometimes I'll do those on Thursday and have them scheduled because you can do things in
Mhm.
advance and schedule them.
Yeah.
But I'm not, I used to have the Monday or this was it the Sunday scaries people called it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't do that anymore. I have my
No.
Monday set up that I'm
No, I
actually
love
okay with
Mondays.
them. Yeah, I'm
Mondays are like I get excited for Monday to roll around, but
I'm
I
excited.
I get excited about Mondays because my schedule's very much like yours, and I know we've talked about this before, where I'm like, Monday's usually my prep day, my get ready
Yeah,
for the weekday, my review day, all of those things because I like to set the tone for the week. And
definitely.
I and
Yeah,
I just recently switched from 5 days a week to 4 days a week, and
good for
that
you.
doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not in the office on Friday, but there are no expectations for me on Friday. So if I
Yeah.
wanna take the day off on Friday and go, take my mom to lunch or, go do something fun with a girlfriend, I can do that because I scheduled that day for me. So however I choose to spend that day is
Yes.
how I spend that day.
Right.
And like we do weekly reports and stuff too, but like I have my studio coordinator saying like, schedule that. Do it
Yeah.
on Thursday. Schedule it to be like you can schedule emails.
Yeah.
If I have a chance to answer something on a weekend because I have
Yeah.
some time and maybe I have an appointment on Monday and I want to make
Mhm,
sure I get back to them,
mhm.
I don't email them back on
No.
Sunday night.
No,
I
no.
email in to get it from out of my head and into the computer because I know that I will rest better if I know that that is done.
Yes,
But
same.
the boundary of knowing that they are not getting it on a Sunday night,
Yes.
they are getting it Monday morning during business hours is
Yeah.
very comforting to me because
Yeah.
I know that I have set healthy boundaries and they respect that. And I respect that they're probably, emailing me on Sunday night because that's when they had time to think about it because, they
Exactly.
work full time outside of the home. And, I'm always like, you can email me anytime. Just know that you will not hear back from me
Yes.
unless it is Monday through Thursday
Yes.
between these set hours because
Yeah.
that is just about boundaries and respect. And it has made me a better designer and a better businesswoman because I have those boundaries and because I
Definitely.
respect them, other people respect them too.
Yes.
Um, so that is definitely something we have in common. I feel like I need to now like maybe I need to look at more things on a weekly basis. Maybe I do the quarterly thing as like the big picture, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
all of the things. I don't need to look at all of that every single week, but
No.
I'm
No, no.
sure there are things that I could probably add to my like I just call them admin hours on Monday. So like
Yeah.
usually Monday mornings are my admin hours. That's when I set up for the week. That's when I review the last week, all of that kind of stuff. So I probably could be a little bit more diligent about adding certain things into that.
Yeah.
And then my quarterly assessment would probably be like a half day instead of a whole day.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
that's really great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But,
So
so go ahead, sorry.
no, go ahead.
I was just saying, like, so many of us do not spend that time, right?
No.
And it's I can't stress how important it is that,
It
you put your CEO hat on because you're not
is. Mhm.
just a designer to your clients, but you are running a business and you need to
Yeah.
spend time. You
Well, and
need to
it's such
spend time in it.
a game changer when you get into that routine. Like, now I'm, like, realizing, hindsight's 2020, right? Now that I
Mhm.
have been doing this way for a long time and sharing that with other designers, like, they're reporting back to me and saying, "Sarah, I am designing with so much more clarity. Things are flowing so much faster." I said, "That's because you had the Monday morning brain dump of getting all of that off of your plate. You have
Yes.
spent that time." I always tell them spend Mondays delegating because if you take your admin hours, you can see what needs to be done, all of that stuff, and start adding that to your team's plate. Spread
Yes.
it out so that you're not overwhelmed. And they are like, I'm going through stuff so much faster, and this is so much more um, better for the workflow for me. I'm
Yeah.
efficient. I'm not stressed.
Yeah.
I'm ending the week on a high.
Yeah.
I always kind of send them a little note with their like hours or progress updates and saying like, don't forget to share your win for the week. Like,
Right.
end your week on a positive note. What went really well this week? And it can be as simple as like, I had enough time to go get a pedicure on Tuesday because
Right.
submitted my design plans and I was ahead of schedule and I had an extra hour to myself. So I
Yeah.
left the office early and got a pedicure. Like little things like that's a win.
Win-win. That is a win. It is a win. And
Absolutely.
so something that I often will suggest to my designers is like the notes app on your phone. At the end
Hmm.
of the day, I want you to list at least one thing that you're grateful for that day. What went well? And it could have been something as simple as you really enjoyed your coffee that morning,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Or you got to take your dog for a walk around the neighborhood at lunchtime. You know,
Yep.
and once you start recognizing all the fabulous things that do happen throughout the day, all the little things, the little moments.
Yeah.
It's amazing how there will be, again, another switch will get turned
Hmm.
on,
Yeah.
how
For sure.
lighter you will feel and how I hate because as women, we're always being told, "Oh, you should be grateful." But there will be a sense of gratitude because when
For
we're
sure.
just focusing on everything that's going wrong or everything that's stressing us or overwhelming us, we don't pay attention to those little moments where, we were content. We had that feeling of contentedness,
Yeah.
and what have you. So I do try, you know, at the end of the day, just think back about, one or two things that went really well. And it doesn't have to always be business oriented. It could be life, right? Maybe
Yeah.
a
Absolutely.
friend that you haven't heard from in a long time sent you a text out of the blue, right? That
Right.
is something to be really thankful for.
Yep.
So for me, yes, we definitely dive in and into the business and making sure that business is there to support you and make sure you have the foundations there. But also it's very much a holistic approach. And it's like, I want to make sure that you're enjoying life. You're not just here to work and to hustle because I do not believe in that that idea that, we need to work harder and we need to hustle, hustle, hustle. Um,
Yeah.
or, I think I even have a blog post and it's like how to take a 50-hour work week and reduce it to 25 using the model
Yeah.
calendar.
Mhm.
Do EO date because if you're not spending the time in your business and things are piling up and you are just feeling so heavy because you have all these things to do that you can never get
Mhm.
to. And I often say to designers, if you're looking for a day where you don't have any commitments, you're never going to find it. But you will find 15 minutes or a half an hour where you can sit
Yes.
down, turn off all distractions, and just
Mhm.
do it. And then when it's done, you're going to feel amazing. You're going to feel lighter. And you're like, oh my God, why did I spend 6 months procrastinating on that when it took
Mhm.
me all half an hour to do? I'm
Yep.
guilty of it as well,
Absolutely.
but that is happening less and less because of the
Yeah.
foundation I've set for myself in
Same.
place.
Same.
Yeah,
I think we all fall back into those, like, old routines where we're like, "Oops, I slipped up today." Like, I got a
yeah,
little too in my head, or I went into the weeds on this one design thing that I was doing, and
yeah,
I neglected the other things that I should have prioritized. And,
yeah.
I think we all do that, but I know a lot of things, for me, and I think you could probably relate to this experience when I talk to designers, a lot of them just need me to simplify.
God, yes.
Like,
Yes,
they
yes,
just
yes,
like that is
yeah,
seems to be like, and you said about the third session moment. I get that moment of like I can visibly see on the video calls that I'm doing with them, the light bulb comes on. Like,
yeah.
and you
Let's
can actually
simplify.
hear it in the tone of their emails too. Like, oh my gosh, you just totally simplified that. Like,
Yeah,
I don't have to do that. I'm like, it's your business, sis. Like,
yeah,
you can do it however you want to. You don't
yeah,
have to use this program and this program and this program and this program, and you don't have to do it in this way. And even
yeah,
if you're using that program, use it how it works. Like, make your tools work for you instead
yeah,
of working around your tools. Like, that's not how they're supposed to work. And we all fall into this trap where you see it's like a shiny new toy, right? Like, you see like this new program and you're like, oh, this can do all the things and it's going to be great. And then it's overwhelming to learn and all the things. And you end up
right.
paying oodles and oodles of money for something you just don't need. So a
And we
lot
can
of it,
just
just
and
simplify.
we can be guilty of overcomplicating things.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
That perfectionist in us, you
Yeah.
know, we can be so guilty of that, but I always say to them, "We're going to simplify this because if it's not
Mhm.
simple, A, you're not gonna do it. You're gonna get
Exactly.
overwhelmed with it. You're not gonna stick with it, but also your client's not gonna have a great experience either if things are
No,
complicated. So let's
no.
just
If it's complicated for you,
simplify
it's
it."
complicated for them.
Yeah. Like,
And you're
let's
wasting
dumb it
money.
down,
Like,
right? I say dumb it down. We're just gonna dumb it
yes,
down here. Right?
exactly.
Let's
Yep.
just take away all
Yep.
the extraneous stuff that we don't need.
Hmm.
Let's simplify it. And for some, it could be just a matter of let's go into your Google Drive and let's clean up all those contracts
Yep.
because they've got all these contract templates that they have bought from
Hmm.
all these different people. And it's
Yep.
like, and so when they get a new client, they don't even know what contract to engage because they've got
Yes.
so many. Right?
Yep.
Let's
That's
just
a
pull
lot of what
just
I do too. That's part of the
yeah,
audit. That's part
yes,
of
yeah,
that whole, like, let's get organized, let's
yeah,
simplify. And I always tell them, I'm like, listen, it's gonna feel like I'm just tearing your business to shreds in the beginning. I
yeah.
promise, there's just trust the process, I'm like,
We're gonna get
we
messy
we
before it
don't need
gets
this,
better.
we don't need this, we don't need this, and they're
Yeah,
like, oh my gosh, like,
yeah,
what are you gonna replace this with? And I'm like, well, first of all, half of this doesn't need to be replaced because you don't need it in the first place.
right.
The amount of
Yeah,
people I have talked to in the last 6 months that I have told use your Google workspace
yeah,
has been just, and you can see their faces are just like, wait, what? Yeah,
right. Yeah,
use your calendar, use it for your tasks, use it for your calls, use it for your schedule, like all of these things that they can connect together. And like, you're already paying for this.
right. I know.
Stop paying for extra stuff that's gonna do the same thing. Keep
Right.
it simple. It does
Simple.
not have to be this complicated.
Yeah.
So on that note with tools, I know you and I are both using HoneyBook and kind of
We
geeking out
are.
about that a little bit.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
like it's my favorite thing to talk about when people are going, I don't know what to use as a CRM. I don't need this. It's really expensive. It's this, it's that. So I know we've talked about it. Is that still your favorite tool
Oh
that's in
god,
your
I'm
current
so
toolbox?
I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. I have 3 designers using it too now. I'm like, and I'm providing training to them on it. They love that they can customize it. So I signed up for HoneyBook because you shared it with me,
Mhm.
and I signed
Yep.
up for it. And the first day I had signed up, I had it partially set up and sent
Mhm.
out my first proposal with my contract and my invoice on it. And immediately that what was a prospect
Yep.
responded like, "How did you do that? How did you do that?"
Right?
Kind
It's
you
I
sent
mean,
me
anything
one
that I can
email.
set up that quickly and feel confident in, like,
Yeah,
sending to a client,
yeah, yeah. It's been a
it
game
was such a
changer.
game changer. I tell
It's been a game changer.
everybody about it, and they're like, "Well, is that not really specifically for designers?" I'm like, "No, it's not, but you
Mm,
can make it
yeah,
specifically for your design business,
yeah,
and here's how." Like,
yeah,
I feel now like I can make a smart file for literally anything. I
yeah.
can tailor every contract, every invoice, every proposal. All of it's there and it's
All of it's
beautifully
there.
branded and I
Yeah,
don't have to like think about it. And can have, as many templates as I want to.
yep,
I have my lead forms from my website in there. Like
and
everything's in one place. I got
everything.
rid of my Doma, I got rid of Flowdesk, I got rid of Calendly. Like
Yeah,
I pretty much function across Google Workspace, HoneyBook, and Canva, and of course,
exactly.
Coupon where I
Right.
render. But like,
Yeah, same.
that's what 4 programs. I mean, and
Yeah.
everybody that I work with tells me you have such a smooth, efficient system. I
Yes.
love the experience of working with you because everything's really easy to there's just a very easy flow to it.
Mm,
And I really think like the biggest part of that is using HoneyBook because
I
I've
definitely
just like, I've always thought outside the box with things. And at one point I was even um self-hosted on my website and didn't use a CRM at all. And
right.
like built my own.
Yeah.
This is like next level.
I agree,
Oh,
I agree. And that it fully integrates with my Google Workspace,
yep.
Canva,
Mhm.
and my QuickBooks. Like, it's
Yep.
just, and that you can customize your dashboard. You can move things around.
Mhm.
If there's something on your
Yep.
dashboard you don't want, get rid of it. Move it around
Yep.
or don't have the priority, and that you can bring in your brand colors to it. There's
Mhm.
no client needing to log in. If I wanna see the emails that I've sent to the client last week, I don't have to go through my
Yes.
inbox and search. I
I
can
think
just go
that's
into the
probably one of my
project.
favorite things is that, like, the emails automatically end up in their project, whether I
Yeah,
send it from Gmail or from HoneyBook, it's all right there.
exactly.
Like, I have the
Mhm.
entire thread. It's like having, like, its own little chat in
Yep,
there, and I
yep,
love too that it'll send me these little, like, nudge emails like, "Oh, so and so was a warm lead a week
yeah,
ago, and she hasn't responded to your email. Do you wanna send another one?" Like,
right. Yeah.
it's just I love it. I love it so
I love
much.
it. I love it. It's been a game changer for sure. It's been a game
Yes.
changer, and yeah, absolutely love it. And the designers that I have using it, um, yeah, they've seen a difference as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good.
Okay. Before we go to the rapid fire closer, that's my favorite part. Um,
Okay.
is there anything that you want to make sure that the audience knows about Bring Calm to Chaos? Can you walk us through like anything that we did not talk about that you really want to make sure that everybody knows, or just kind of sum it up with a quick, here's
Sure
the
thing.
nuts and bolts of it?
Yeah, the nuts and bolts. So the name speaks for itself. That's what we're doing. We are bringing calm back to your business and to your life. We start off with an audit. So the program itself is a 90-day program because it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Change
Right.
doesn't happen fast. And I've had so many people go through the program. I always do a feedback survey, and the question I get asked is, should it be shorter? And they always say no.
Mhm.
I've never had anyone say, I wish it was shorter because the way I've laid it out is we meet bi-weekly, and in the week in between, we're actually implementing. So you're
Mhm.
not taking this program. You're not like signing up for 6 sessions with me and we're just banging them out and then you're left to your own devices. Absolutely not.
Mhm.
The sessions are purposely bi-weekly, so I am supporting you in between the ideas that you're working on things, and then if we need to pivot, we can pivot. If we need to tweak
Right.
things, we can tweak things. So at the end, I definitely want you to feel that you have a good foundation, a good structure, you know where you're headed. We've gone through your services, we've gone through your branding, your marketing, your copy, and all that I help you with so that we can make sure that what you're putting out there is attracting the projects that you want to attract, and that when you get those prospective clients, you feel ready and you're confident to go forward and ask, for whatever that ask is for their investment to work with you. You're confident in that you know how you're going to execute your projects going forward. You have your boundaries set. And so many people close off when they hear that word. I don't know. It's become almost like a bad word. And it's like, it's
I
not.
know, right?
It
It's
is
not
not a
cutting people
bad word.
off. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody,
it's not
boundary
you
gets
being
like a bad
closed
rap.
off.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're not being closed off. You're not being the B word. It is
yeah.
just you being respectful of yourself, but also
Yes.
respectful of them. And I've never in all my years that I've, like, actually set the boundaries for myself, I've ever had a client not respect them. Yes, you're gonna get the emails outside of office hours, but they'll say, "You don't have to answer me. Just sending it to you now because I know that you're
Yep.
gonna get to it when you get to it."
Yes, I get
I
the same things where they're like, "I know it's a Saturday,"
Yeah,
and I've had to tell people like, "Listen, don't ever apologize." Like, we have and I send clear expectations. It's in their initial meeting. It's in the paperwork they get. It's in the contract. It's all like I always tell them my contract is basically, it's an 80-20 ratio where like 80% of it is just boundaries and expectations.
yeah.
20% of it is the legal stuff. The contract
Great,
attorney
great.
told me you must have these things in here to be safe. Of course, I have all of that legal jargon and I've made sure that that is buttoned up tight. But
Yeah,
the vast majority of my contract is about boundaries. It's about
right.
boundaries and expectations. And when you have that very clearly stated and you use a contract for everything,
Yes. Yeah,
we all have to learn the hard way. I think there's always
we
that one
do.
person that you
Always
didn't
that one
use it
person we think, "Oh,
for.
they'll be
And
good for it. Oh,
yeah,
this is
and
gonna
it
be okay."
burns you every time. Every
Yeah,
time.
well, every time you'll get burned. But hey, that's gonna happen. Life is, like I say, messy. Business is messy.
Absolutely.
But then, you have a you're doing your due diligence before you sign the client. You're not saying yes to everything. No is a complete sentence, as we've gone over. And
Mhm.
and that once you have your copy and your social media and your marketing plan buttoned up, then it's gonna be very few and far between that you get a client come in between the cracks and that you're like, "Oh, I shouldn't have worked with them."
Right.
Right? But you have to be okay with saying no, and I know,
Mhm.
it's hard to say no and walk away from business, but, especially in the early days, or maybe
Yeah.
things are quiet and things have slowed down and you're like, "I don't really feel
Mhm.
like say no," but trust
Yep.
me, trust me, you'll say no because there's something better coming along.
Yes.
And
Yes, and
again,
saying
it's
no
looking
has
at the
allowed that
security.
opportunity to happen instead of saying yes to the thing that's happening right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, it comes down to that security piece, and I get it. I get it because that's
Yeah.
really important for me as well, but looking for that security in your business by working with the wrong client, it never works out. Never works out.
Backfires every time.
Never. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna do our fast
All
fire,
right. All right. Rapid fire.
rapid
All
fire.
right. Best piece of business advice you've ever received?
Oh, yes. Just because you can do the thing doesn't mean you should do it.
I love
So
that.
I
Yes.
have a longtime mentor. I still meet with her twice a month. I've been meeting with her for years, and I can remember I was given an opportunity and I knew I could do it and I could knock it out of the park and I could do it really well, but my heart wasn't in it. And I said to her, I
Mhm.
said, I think I should do it because I know I could do it really well. And she came back and she, Marsha, just because we can do things well doesn't mean we should do them. And that is the best piece of business advice. That's Miss Wendy gave me that advice.
I love that. Well, thank
Yeah.
you, Miss Wendy, because I think
Yeah.
we all need to hear that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. What is one thing that you think designers should stop doing immediately?
Oh my god. Stop doing immediately?
Yeah.
Stop doing. I have a lot of things they should start doing immediately, but stop doing immediately.
What should they
Stop
s
scrolling Instagram and comparing yourself to everybody else.
Yes, yes,
Stop
love
it.
that.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. It's not healthy. Not at all.
All right, this is a tough one.
Okay.
HoneyBook, Canva, or Google Workspace, if you could only keep one, which one is it?
Oh my God. If I could only keep one,
You could only keep one. If you had to pick one between HoneyBook, Canva, and Google Workspace, which one would you keep?
HoneyBook.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does work-life balance actually look like on a good week for you?
Work life balance for me. Okay. I'm really old school. So for me, I start my day at 10. So I wake up in the morning. I read my Bible in the morning. I have tea and breakfast with my husband. I see him off to work. I sit at my desk at 10. I do my work. I'm done between 3 and 4. I make supper and I get to have supper with my family at the end of the day. And then I go to the beach for a walk. That
Ah, I
is
love that.
work day for me. I
That's
very
cool.
much my kids are 18 and 20, so any day that I get to have dinner around the table with them, I
Oh,
love
yeah.
that. It's really important for me, and so when I could do that, that's a good day for me.
Yeah, I agree. That's a non-negotiable for us. Like,
Yeah.
dinner time with the family is sacred. I
Yes, it is
100%
sacred,
agree.
and in the early years, it's gonna be chaotic, and it's gonna be loud, and there's gonna be lots of screaming and crying, but
Yep.
trust me, do not skip dinner around the table, and for us, we
Mhm.
even tried whenever we could to schedule extracurriculars either before or after, so we
Yep,
still had
we
that
do
time.
too.
It's not
Yep.
perfect, it's not perfect, don't
No,
strive for
and some
perfection.
nights are absolutely crazy, but
Yeah,
there is a window of time where I will not we just don't sign up for things that are during that time, and unless we can work around it. Like, there are certain days we eat dinner a little earlier and certain days we eat dinner a little bit later, but we still have dinner together because it's
it's
important to do
important,
that.
it's
Yeah.
important, and a lawyer we when we bought our first house when we had our kids, and we were meeting with a real estate lawyer, and he asked me what I did, and I'm like, "Well, I'm an interior decorator, but I'm at home with the kids, and I home educate them and whatnot," and he said, "You're gonna feel like it's a thankless job right now." He said, "But my wife did it," and he said, "I can guarantee you when you get to the other side of it, your adult kids are gonna thank you." And
Yep.
I've held on to that, especially through the hard days, because 'cause I'm telling you, with homeschooling for sure, they didn't always get the best side of mom. I am not a perfect
No.
parent. They sometimes got the messy mom, sometimes mom could have
Mhm.
done better, but I always own that too. It's like, "You know what? You didn't get the best mom today. Mom could have done better, and I'm sorry for that."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's just, we have 18 years with them. I mean, we all see the memes,
Mhm.
right? You have 18 years,
Yep.
you have 18 summers, blah, blah, blah. And
Yep.
and and so if you're a mom right now and you're in the thick of it and you're wanting to run your interior design business, you can do it, definitely. But give
Yep.
yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace
Yes.
because it's going to be fleeting and you'll
Yeah.
get to do the thing and you're going to and what have you, but just give yourself some grace right now. It's okay. I took my
I love
kids to fabric shops. I took them to trade room showrooms,
Yep.
trade yeah. They got dragged
Yeah.
around. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, my
And that's okay.
9-year-old can do a mean flat lay.
Yep,
Like,
exactly.
yeah, I just
It's
incorporated her.
okay.
We're our
Yeah,
school's out on Wednesday. She's going to be home with me all summer, and she will be my little design intern. And part
yep,
of the time, and the other part of the time, I can just be mom, and we'll be at the
yeah.
pool because I
But
can.
they get to see mom but don't be like, "Oh my god, I gotta go source tile and I gotta take the kid with me."
Mhm.
Don't look at it that way. Your
Yeah.
kid gets to watch mom in her element. You are
Yes. Yeah.
imparting on them work ethic, like, it's so
Mhm.
valuable. So if you see yourself having that conversation with yourself and it's a little negative, switch that dialogue. Switch
Yeah.
it.
It's all about perspective.
It is.
Absolutely.
It is. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ah, Marsha, this conversation was everything I knew it would be. Thank you
Yay.
so much
Thank you.
for being so open and so real and digging into this with us. before we sign off, where can our listeners find you and how do
Okay.
they begin working with
Yeah.
you?
So website, Marsha Sefcik, SEFCIK.com. And on Instagram, you search Marsha Sefcik. I think I have an underscore between my first and last name, but you'll find me there as well. So yeah.
Okay. And
Okay.
then I am going to drop your Bring Calm to Chaos
Yeah.
brochure link in the show notes. So anybody who wants to check that out can reach you there as well.
Yeah. And
And
summer is a great time to sign up because, hey, we
okay,
can do our
great.
calls lakeside, from the beach, from the cottage.
Oh, I love
Like,
that
you can show up.
idea.
You don't need to be in your office to meet with me. You can be in your sweats. You can be in your shorts. I do not care. We're messy over here. It's
That's
okay.
great. That's
Yeah.
really great to know. All right, Marcia. Well, if you are joining us for this episode, thank you so much for being here. And stay tuned until next time for another unfiltered episode.
Thanks for hanging out for another unfiltered episode. My goal is always to leave you feeling a little less overwhelmed and a lot more empowered to run your business your way. Until next time.